What's going on, man? Oh, I'm sorry. We was, in a conversation. This down in Sports Talk right here, man. Left-handed is in the building at RM Des on Twitter. You know how to get at me. I got my Code D in the house right here. Yada Bear holding it down.
I am
Um,
back.
a lot of stuff to talk about, man. We're in the middle of the midst of the 1 year anniversary of Down in Sports Talk. You know what it is. We've been rocking for a year with y'all, man, giving y'all this conversations. We're not into no analytics and no numbers, but if we could get like that, if we must, you know what I mean? We got a guest coming through in a few minutes. That's my big homie, Keith Avalone from playgames.com will be in the building with us talking board games, right? So that's what we're going to do. Yada, what's goody?
Ah man, nothing. Made appearance on our regular night. Back in effect.
Yes, absolutely.
Everything.
Salute, salute,
You
salute.
know, sitting back enjoying these NBA playoffs. We getting down to the nitty gritty. Couple interesting series going on, and you know, waiting for the draft. The NFL draft coming up on Thursday should be quite interesting. But other than that, same old, same old.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA playoffs, a lot of 3-1 situations going down. All right. A lot of
Yeah.
teams got their backs to the wall, the proverbial situation where if you lose, you go home. The Sixers, this
Well,
one's over
yeah.
here. They're in Cancun in the Caribbean right now, chilling, just getting their rest or waiting for the second round opponent. My New York Knicks, up 3-1 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm looking forward to them doing what they do. But again, in the back of my mind, it's going to be like the Knicks are going to nick, you know. And again, we done it all basically again without Julius Randle. And for all, my Nick homies out there, my man Sadat X from Brand Nubian, a lot of big Nick fans out there, they get at me because I'm, feel like I'm coming down on Julius Randle. I'm only telling the truth. Julius Randle still owes us a playoff series from 2 years ago in Atlanta against Atlanta.
Yeah.
I
Didn't
mean,
he have some beef about not playing in the fourth quarter of the last game?
I
Was
mean,
they
again,
pouting?
I know because they showed him on the sideline. He was cheering. He was part of the situation, smiling and this and that and the third, putting on, putting up a good, putting a good face up. But as he should, what is his beef? He's the one that's taking all these wild 3-pointers. He's the one
Yeah.
that's elbowing everybody in the face. He's the
Yeah.
one that's not, doing what he's supposed to do as an alleged leader of the New York Knicks. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson is still proving his worth. Absolutely. He got jerked for most improved player.
Wait a minute. Who they give it to?
They gave it to Laurie Markkinen. Yeah, they gave it to Laurie Markkinen, man. Like, I'm like, come on now. What did Jalen Brunson, what else did he have to do?
I mean,
He had it. I mean, Laurie Markkinen did what he did. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
but
But Jalen, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but the fact that Jalen Brunson basically led the Knicks to the playoff, the Jazz was an afterthought. I mean, the improvement between last year and this year with Lloyd Marketing, yeah, there was some strides, there was some big steps, but I think it was a bigger improvement with Jalen Brunson
Absolutely. That's my point.
because he came in to a situation where they had a quote unquote leader in Julius Randle was supposed to be the guy or
Mm-hmm.
RJ Barrett, but it seemed like Jalen came in there and solidified his spot as the top guy for the Knicks. So
Right.
now when I think of the Knicks, I think of Jalen Brunson. I do. It's his team. It's not Julius Randle team. It's not RJ Barrett team. It is Brunson team. So I will agree that I probably would have went Bronson over Lloyd Marketing.
I
Not
mean,
to say that Lloyd Marketing wasn't
yeah,
balling.
I mean,
I
Laurie
mean, you
Markkinen
could
definitely have a
even
case. He has a
I
case,
mean
but
you could even go with Shea Gildas. What's it called?
yeah, absolutely. Shea Gilgis Alexander,
I wouldn't have been
absolutely.
mad at that too. So
Right.
Yeah, I don't think I would have went Laurie Mark. I probably would have went either Brunson or Shea Gildas.
I
Yeah,
mean, if they would have
probably
picked
yeah.
if they would have picked Shea Gilgis Alexander, I'd have been like, all right, he deserved it. Not
Yeah,
saying that Laurie Marketing doesn't deserve it,
yeah.
but I'm beefing right now because Laurie Marketing got it over Jalen Brunson. You know what I
That was
mean?
Jalen. Yeah,
You know
yeah.
the money, um, um, not being a factor in this situation is just how he played, how he improved the whole situation around him with the Knicks. You know what I mean? When you talk about point guards for the New York Knicks, like you go back to Mark Jackson, and we've had a plethora of point guards since that
John
time.
Starks.
This guy, you know what I mean? This guy came in and held it down basically from day
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
again,
It became his team.
Jalen Brunson did his thing. Shout out to Paolo Banchero who got the Rookie of the Year. No
Oh,
argument. No
well
argument from
deserved.
that.
I mean,
Absolutely. See, you know what I mean? No,
that was
no
well
argument.
deserved. You
Absolutely.
couldn't have thought. You couldn't even think twice of anybody else. The other guys they put in there, they just had him to run against somebody else, you
Right.
know, because it was a clear
Right.
clear giveaway from day
Right.
one. Like since he stepped foot on the NBA
That's
court
right.
this season,
From day one, Paolo Banchero. That's right.
he's been
Absolutely.
dominating. He's been really great. It's crazy that you don't really see him like that because he played for the Magic, and the Magic,
Right.
unfortunately, are a bad team. But for those who on the East Coast that our teams play them very frequently, we got to see a nice healthy dose of him, and yeah, he's good. He's going to be good. He'll be better once he get to go to his second team. Well, hey,
Orlando Magic fans, send your email over there. Send the emails over there.
Don't get mad at me. Get mad at y'all history.
All right, we got our special guest in the building.
You know.
Hey.
Whoa!
How you doing, sir?
Doing good. You?
Everything's everything. Knicks, Rangers, blue and orange skies. Blue and red skies. You already know. Listen,
got my Roughneck shirt on.
I see you. I don't even the words can't express how. Now, every time I introduce this guy on the shows, or different incarnations of the shows, I just say I give it to him. All credit due, because he keeps me in the house. I go outside. I do what I do. You know what I mean? But he keeps me in the house. Keith Avalone.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Playgames.com. I think I'm going to have we got another convert in the building. That's why I wanted you to come on so you could talk to her, because she's really interested in how those games work. I try to explain it, but I can't really explain it like you do. You know what I mean? But before we get into that real quick, this is a New Orleans Saints fan right here, Yada. New Orleans Saints in the building.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of cool into them a little bit now. I think I'm going to go for the Broncos. Going to go for the Broncos.
Breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of Dennis Allen anyway.
Okay.
And I felt like last year, they set the table for him, and he finished 7-10,
Mm-hmm.
And then they go and get Derek Carr, who,
right.
Maybe he's a great. I don't understand what the big deal is over Derek Carr. Why does nobody remember that the Raiders let him go? They released him. I mean, a team doesn't release a player of that caliber unless there's a reason for it,
Right.
I feel like. So, I mean, I'm not a huge – Derek Carr is a great guy. From everything I know, he's a terrific human being. But is he going to be the guy that gets the Saints to the Super Bowl? Is he worth $160 million, most of it guaranteed? I don't think so. So I'm sort of thinking I'm thinking 7-10 again this year. But I think I may be following the Broncos instead with
okay. Sean Payton. Yep, Sean Payton gonna turn it around in Denver, and maybe Russell Wilson to get his thing together and have his thing set up right.
Oh my God, yes.
Well, they were talking, but there's a time where they were talking about getting Russell Wilson to come to play for the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that never happened, obviously. So I know that Sean Payton is a big fan of Russell Wilson, and I
Yeah.
think if anybody can get Russell Wilson, to play at Russell Wilson level again, is going to be Sean Payton. So I think, I'm
Yeah,
pretty excited.
I totally agree with that. I think what we seen last season with Russ was the Nathaniel Hackett, dumpster fire. He didn't
Yeah,
know what he was doing. He didn't know what type of player that he had inherited. He didn't know what type of plays to call. He didn't know how to run the team. Sometimes one of the big things I always say that just because you're an offensive coordinator doesn't mean that you're a good head coach. You know,
yeah,
sometimes just being a coordinator is where you need to stay, and it's no problem with that. We have seen a million fantastic coordinators, but we
yeah,
only have a handful of great head coaches. And it's funny when you think about it. It's like, wow, we seen like hundreds of great coordinators, but when you think about head coaches, like really great head coaches, it's only a handful of them guys.
yeah.
So I don't think he was, set out to be a head coach.
I totally agree. Totally agree. And Russell Wilson also was not healthy really last
Hmm.
year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there are a lot of factors that played into it, and I don't think you can absolve him entirely.
Oh no,
He
no, no.
didn't play that well,
Yeah.
but he had a lot of reasons not to play that well. And I think that's yesterday. Let's see what he does in 2023. And I think
Absolutely.
if anybody's
Absolutely.
going to turn it around, it's going to be Sean Payton.
Oh
Helping him.
yeah. Oh
get it
yeah.
going. So,
Definitely.
It's big news on this side of the planet in New York with Aaron Rodgers. All the front pages of all the newspapers are green. The Daily News, New York Post, Newsday, everything is green. What is your thoughts? We had some interesting talk behind the scenes in regards to Aaron Rodgers going to the New York Jets. What's your thoughts about Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets?
Man, I think when you're rolling the dice on a guy that's 40 years old, maybe it'll work out, but maybe it won't. I think if you look back at the track record, now I know we're kind of entering a new era. Players condition themselves better, and so you can play longer. And Tom Brady, I think, sort of blazed the trail there as to what's
Mm-hmm.
possible beyond age 40. But traditionally, looking back, you see a guy performing really well up until about age 40. Then there comes at some point, there comes a steep drop off. It happened to Brett Favre, happened to Warren Moon, it happened to Drew Brees, big time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you hit that wall, then bam, you just fall off the cliff. And, maybe Aaron Rodgers has another year or two, but how long is he going to be able to, to deliver, or is he going to be able to deliver? I mean, he was 8-9 last year.
Right. That's right. And
Exactly.
I guess you have to roll the decider die on that and see what happens.
And I'll tell you what, I would love to see Aaron Rodgers take the Jets to the Super Bowl. I think that'd be awesome. I'd get a Jets jersey. Is he going to wear number 12? Is he going to wear number 12?
I think he's going to wear number 8.
Yeah, he's going to wear number 8.
Well, that's kind of disappointing, but I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and listen,
no matter what number he's wearing, I would love to see him take the Jets to the Super Bowl. Love that.
That gauntlet that he's going to have to run through, first in the division, then in the AFC. Woo! Yeah, that'll be the stuff. They will definitely make a movie out of that if we were to take them to the Super Bowl. That would be a real serious Jeopardy question right there.
Well, he's got a good supporting cast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's got a great head coach.
Yes.
So I mean, the pieces are in place. Now it's going to be on him, and
And yes, I agree that it definitely will be on him. But we all seen his track record with younger players, and as he spoke earlier, the generation gaps. And the type of guy that Aaron Rodgers is, he thinks he's the smartest person in the room. So how is he going to connect with his young supporting cast? Like these guys, like I was telling Left in the green room, the guys that he's playing along with, they could be his children. They're like 20, 21, 22 years old,
Yeah.
How we saw how he reacted in the beginning of the season in Green Bay with his young receiving core. He wasn't on the same page with him. He didn't want anything to do with him. and now he's coming into another situation where majority of the team was born in the late 2000s.
Yeah, it's a young team. It's a young team. So, well,
Yes.
again, it's on him. He's the one
Yes.
that's going to have to make it happen. So, and I think I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility.
Right.
I think it's it's a.
I think
I'd take a
it's gonna be
shot
an
at it.
uphill battle.
I think I would take the gamble, but
Absolutely. I mean, look at Tampa Bay and Tom Brady 3 years ago. You know what I mean? I wasn't, and Keith knows I didn't jump out the window. I wasn't. Oh my goodness, we got Tom Brady, but it worked out because this was the thing. Those guys were excited. They had a shiny toy that was serious about what he does. Got them together in tip top shape, and they went out there and got a Super Bowl. Now,
But-
I guess they hit that proverbial wall, and the thing just fell apart. You know what I
But
mean?
one thing I would say about that is when Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay, he was with veterans.
yes, that's
Those
right.
guys are veterans. These guys are only in their second year.
Mm.
That's a huge difference.
Well, maybe they'll get him a couple of guys like Gronk. Was for
I mean, he's bringing Lazard with him. He's bringing a couple of the guys, and he got Nathaniel Hackett, so he's going to be around some familiar faces.
Yeah.
But we are in the building down at In Sports Talk Tuesday night. We back in stride. We got our special guest in the building, Keith Avalone in the house. Play games. I'll let you explain it. You know what I mean? Because you can do it way better than I can. And we have a very interested observer in the building.
You do a pretty good job of it, though, Chris. I got to tell you.
Listen, I go back a long time. I still got my stuff from like 2009, 2010, my football stuff. I keep that stuff. The only thing I tell people, like I told Yada, I say, yo, these games are super easy to play. They're super, super easy. And now they broke it down even more where you have your basic game, like the football game. It might take about an hour and a half. But now you have the express game. So now, and then you have the shout out to Al Wilson. You got the fast drive football game that takes. I played the Saints and the Bears just on GP the other night. It took me like 30 minutes.
Right.
Dice, and I keep stats. Explain because she's interested. She wants to, learn about the games and stuff like that. Explain how the games basically work and what your thought process was behind doing this.
Well, the way they work, they're basically like analog versions of video games. Instead of having, the video part of it is in your head. The book, the game will tell you what's happening, and you'll use dice or cards to generate the random results. But the universe of results is rooted in the historical universe of actual results for that particular sport. So you're talking about professional football, you can expect that, generally speaking, quarterbacks are going to, in this day and age, are going to complete, 65% of their passes. They're going to throw 2 or 3% intercepted, maybe 4 or 5% touchdowns. Average gain is going to be about, 10, 11, 12 yards per completion. And the game charts are going to generate those results. You're going to call a play. You're going to roll the dice. In the case of the football game, you'll roll the dice. You'll look up the result based on what you rolled. You'll cross-reference the offensive play call with the defensive setting and the dice roll. So there's 3 factors that come into play, and you'll cross-reference all that. It'll give you a result. It'll tell you, that you got a short gain, or you're throwing for a loss. A defensive lineman made a big play to throw the runner for a loss, or an offensive lineman, threw down a big block to spring the runner, or if you threw called a pass play, it might tell you that the receiver ran the wrong route and was incomplete. If he just followed the play, he would have caught a long gain, but instead, because he was deficient in his ability, it's an incomplete pass. Or a defensive lineman might be a really good pass rusher, just blow through the block and sack the quarterback. But if he's only has average ability, then the quarterback gets the throw off and completes it for a big gain. So all that is described in the book, and it's all based on the cross-reference of the offensive play call, the defensive setting, and the dice roll. And that's how it works. I mean, it works essentially the same way for all sports. It's a cross reference of different factors, and then a random element is introduced, either dice rolling or a card, like a random card draw, and that will tell you what happens. And through that process, it recreates an entire game, whether it's hockey or basketball or NASCAR or whatever. That's how they work. It's like a video game, but but your mind creates the video, your imagination.
I had from the 2021 season NFL, I had Tampa Bay and Buffalo in the Super Bowl. Leonard Fournette ran a 27-yard gain. It was like 3rd and 11. Leonard Fournette ran for 27 yards. And guess what happened? An unusual result. And it was a penalty. And I took my hat and I threw it because I get into these. I get into it. I'm trying to win. I'm trying, even though I'm playing by myself, I'm trying to win. And I was Keith, my feelings was hurt. We worked hard for that. I just put myself in Bruce Arians' shoes, rolled the dice, and I was like, yes. And then I was like, oh man, what is this? And those games get you in those modes.
Yeah.
I'm so into it. Like today, I got the 78 World Series. I'm going to replay that. The Dodgers and the Yankees. I'm going to replay the 78 World Series. And, the baseball book, it just basically asks you, does the pitcher have the certain quality? Because the players are all described with attributes. There's not a lot of numbers involved. They're described with attributes. So you might have your ace pitcher. He might be a star. He might have, a flash quality. Then your batter, he might be a hero, a home run king, a slugger, or a whiffer. So basically, the book will ask you if the pitcher has the attribute, all right, he struck him out. If he doesn't, you move to the batter, right? If the batter has the attribute, then you just play on and things of that nature. So to me, I love it. You know what I mean? Keith, I got so many projects going on. I like to post in the Play, Play community, the Play Games community, but right. I have so many.
We lost him. Oh no!
I'm right here.
He was getting the helmet.
I'm right here with that. Listen, okay. I'm glad. It's not a game. It's not a game. No pun intended over here. But I'm getting into the tennis game. I sent Keith an email a couple of weeks ago in regards to the tennis game. I'm on the edge with the dodgeball thing. I'm trying to learn that, but we'll figure that out. But I got so many projects going to USFL. Right, I got the XFL going on. I got a hockey project. No, it's so much. I don't know what games to play. And I promised myself I wasn't going to ask you about the basketball game.
Wait, you see in the background?
I see.
Set up right there.
Because you know what? I'm so caught up in the game that the highlight maker basketball. I got the college teams. I just got the teams with like Kenny Anderson and Carmelo Anthony and all of that. And I want to play the historical all-time NCAA tournament, with the Magic Johnsons, and then I got North Carolina State and Gonzaga and all. I just look at these cards like, what do I play today? And then when I'm even getting ready to take it down and go to sleep, I'm like, well, I got Garrett Cole starting tomorrow. It's just I think about this while I'm at work.
Yeah,
I think about it while I'm and that to me that just keeps me focused on other stuff besides stuff that I could be doing. That's why I thank this guy a lot, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I thank him a lot because again, it just keeps me focused on what I do. You learn a lot from the different players. You know what I mean? Historical aspect. That's why we over here down in sport we talk what we talk. And we know what we're talking about. So again, I just wanted, Yada, that's my co-host right there, Yada Bear.
Yeah.
I wanted her to, because she's a big wrestling fan.
Yeah, I love wrestling.
Yeah, and maybe you could explain to her how the wrestling game works, because I watch the videos and stuff like that, and I get into it, but you could explain it to her because she's a wrestling fan for real.
Yeah.
Well, Yada, how come you watch wrestling? What is it about wrestling you like?
The stories and the entertainment.
That's right. That's what wrestling's all about. It's not about the moves and I mean those are like secondary. It's all about it's good versus evil.
Yes.
It's he's not going to get away with that.
Yeah.
And the surprise cliffhanger endings and oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. What?
Exactly.
So that's what my wrestling game does. You do conduct the matches, and you have the moves and the shoulder breakers and the Boston Crabs, and they do the moves and you do resolve the match, and there's like a finisher, or it can end with a pinfall, or it can end with a ref's decision or whatever. But the real game is in the creation of the storyline, and the game actually. It's like it's scripting your series for you. You're just watching. You're watching it all happen, and you find yourself like, oh, what? I can't believe that just happened. It has the exact same effect as why you watch professional wrestling on TV. So I mean, some people there have been a few people who are maybe a little disappointed because it's not about his this particular move is better than his, and he has a higher percentage of pin ratings, or like it's all stats driven. That's not what wrestling's all about, in my view. I don't think that's why people watch wrestling. People watch wrestling because of the entertainment.
Yes.
Because of basically it's a soap opera. It's a soap opera with guys, in tights, and that's what I say my wrestling game, our wrestling game, delivers. It delivers that storyline. Excitement. You set up your matches, you set up your show, you have your feature match at the end. You might have an interview show in the middle of it where, you have, somebody come in, either a celebrity or another wrestler. And that's like in the middle of your show, and you have your undercard, where guys are trying to move up the ladder, and then you set it all up, and then you watch it. So it's really not so much, in the purest sense of a word, not really a game.
Yeah.
More of a simulation. It basically recreates a TV show on your tabletop, and you're watching it. But it's like your show that only you are watching. So it's pretty cool.
That's cool. All right.
Did I answer that very well, Chris? I hope.
I mean, I mean, all the time. I just feel like these games. I mean, I'm getting my collection up. Because I'm looking at the boxes today, I'm getting my collection up. The only ones I don't really have are like the Fury Hardball and the Fury Football, because I have to finish these 12,000 projects that I'm starting already. Yeah. What is the, when you talk about anything that you could tell us in regards to the upcoming football season, or what we have in store that we could look forward to?
You mean from a game stand? From our
I
really haven't. I haven't really started on the NFL teams yet. Usually, I've got them done by now, and so usually, so my timetable usually works right around the NFL draft is when I'm putting the finishing touches on my season, because the last thing I do is the college all-star game, where I take the draft and assign the players. Just like the old college all-star game, where you have your they get to play the NFL champs every summer, back like they used to do in the 60s and 70s. So I assemble that team based on the draft, with the guys being chosen first, being slotted first on the team. So usually by this time I'm almost done, but this year I haven't even started. I mean, that's by design. I'm scheduled to start it next week. So I haven't really worked on it at all. So I don't have a lot of news to share. I'm trying to think. I'm kind of out of football mode. I've been watching the XFL, and I think they've done a pretty good job. So I haven't really been thinking too much about the NFL season, the NFL card set coming up. But it'll come together.
History Maker Baseball Express.
Yes.
Now
sir.
I had the 98 season. Now the 98 season in History Maker Baseball Express with the color cards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely getting those. Explain a little bit in regards to how that works versus the main game. I don't even know what to call it, just the regular game. Explain how Express differentiates from the regular History Maker Baseball.
Well, in History Maker Baseball, the full play version, the original version, you're recreating every at bat. You're, going through. You're basically recreating, simulating an entire baseball game. You don't do it every pitch. You don't have balls and strikes necessarily, but you are resolving each confrontation between the pitcher and the batter. And that's about, on average, about 80 different matchups, pitcher versus batter. And it takes, depending on how quickly you play, it takes about 30, anywhere from 25 to 45 minutes to play a game, based on how many hits you're getting. And a pitcher's duel will be faster. A slugfest will be longer. But generally speaking, 30 to 40 minutes is about right. Well, for a lot of people, for whatever reason, and we could do a whole show on this. I don't know why this is. People, don't have the time that they used to have. It used to be, when we were kids, sitting down and playing a game for an hour and a half, 2 hours, no big deal. It was like, it was an hour or 2 hours well spent. But these days, it's like, man, I don't have time to sit down and play a game for 2 hours. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I hardly watch. I don't think I watched a single complete pro football game last fall. Not even one. What I like to do is I can't spend 3.5 hours. It's like I don't feel free to spend 3.5 hours watching a game. So what I'll do is I'll watch the highlights. After the game is over, I'll go online, NFL.com or whatever, and they've got this nice little summary with all the big plays. Takes about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. Has all the highlights, all the scoring, and it's great. It takes 15 minutes. Well, that's basically what the Express game does. Does the exact same thing. It takes out all the stuff that's not necessarily that crucial or and just gives you the highlights. It gives you the big stuff. So when you take out, in a baseball game, 75% of innings, nobody scores. I mean, that's just a historical.
And listen, that's right up Yada's alley, because we were talking in regards to like the new rules of baseball, the pitch clock, the pizza box bases, and all of that. She says, look, she's a Phillies fan, so she's like, I really don't have 4 hours to sit at Mrs. Bank Park and watch the Phillies. So I'm like, with the History Maker Baseball Express, it kind of like breaks everything down where you can play a game in 15 and 20 minutes and have a real idea of what happened, and it plays out. You won't have a bunch of 13 and 11 games. I've had Keith, when I started playing History Maker Baseball Express, I had 3 shutouts. I had like 5 3-2 games, 2-1 games. I'm in the league championship series now. From when you sent the 8 teams from last year, I'm in the league championship series now. Of course, the Yankees got beat by Tampa Bay. So I got Tampa Bay and Houston in the ALCS, and I got the Dodgers and the Mets in the NLCS. And like, for me, I like it, but then I make the decision. Do I play the World Series out in full, or do I play it in Express as well? I mean, I learned how to keep stats. I keep the home runs. I keep the RBIs. I keep the wins, and I keep the losses, and I keep the saves. Everything else is just what it is. But for me, that's turned into almost my favorite game. Now, like I said, I got the 78 World Series. I'm going to play that out in full. I definitely have to play that because I looked at the rosters. I looked at the cards. I'm like, wow, I can't wait to do this matchup. That Bob Welch and Reggie Jackson thing is going to be crazy for me. Yeah. But again, when you condense it down and break it down, to me, it's more fun because now you have the option of whether you want to play a series out in full or you just want to, run a quick series. You could play it in, like you said, 10, 15, 20 minutes. It's the same thing with football. You have the Second Season Express, which I love. Second Season Express is, oh man,
and
that's like
it's the same philosophy. It's like
same philosophy, same thing, and I love that. I just wanted to try to bring Yada Bear along and aboard because I think she's a big sports head. You know what I mean? And I think she would really get a kick out of how the games play out. You know what I mean? And of course, being a Phillies fan, she probably can't wait to, coach Jalen Hurts.
Oh man. Yeah, I the one game I think I would replay, and wouldn't it be the Super Bowl? It would be the 2009 World Series against the Phillies and the Yankees.
Oh no, you don't. No. That's already been established and done. Thank you very much. We already took care of that. Thank you. My Yankees took care of business. Thank you.
I think that's a great idea.
Keith, what are your thoughts in regards to the new rules? I really interested in how you feel about the pitch clock and the big pizza box bases, and you could only throw over the first base 2 times to check the runner. What are your thoughts on that? That's kind of like Baseball Express.
I think it's great. I mean,
see,
it's 2023. It's not 1923. It's not 1963. It's 2023.
Let's go.
And life is faster, and it just makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, it's it's different, but different isn't necessarily bad.
No.
It speeds the game along. I think it had gotten pretty ridiculous. With guys stepping in and out of the box and getting looking, throwing first base. It's like, come on already. So yeah,
with the rise and jazz.
Big fan.
Yeah, see? Now, I have a question. Even with the new rule changes, would that affect how you would do like the next board game for baseball?
Well, we don't. The game's going to stay the same. The card sets will change, and the new rules will be reflected in the card sets. There'll be more. So players are rated on their ability to run bases. There's more base stealing, so there'll be more active runners. Probably. I'm trying to think of what other actual impact. I think the rule changes essentially have just made the game play faster. And it hasn't really changed a lot of the texture of the game, aside from base running. So I think whatever statistical changes are, generated by these new rules, those will be reflected in the cards. But the game itself is the same. So that would be my sense.
How do you think that does it affect the strategy? Now you can only throw over twice. You have a pitch clock now. It's no more Garcia Parra stuff and Mike Hargrove stuff where they're checking their back gloves between every pitch. Do you think that it'll affect strategy in any way?
I don't think it will. I mean, do you think it affects strategy in the real game? Probably not. It just means you got to, it's like chop. Get the ball.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's get this.
Let's go.
Doesn't really change anybody's strategy. I mean, it's essentially just makes the game play faster. So in that sense, whatever changes, whatever statistical changes are generated by these new rules, will be reflected in the game, in the card sets primarily. If for some reason we start to see fewer strikeouts because the pitchers, or maybe see more strikeouts because the batters can't take so much time to, step away from the plate. Maybe they're going to strike out more. I mean, nobody really knows yet because we haven't played this full season with the numbers yet. But whatever numbers are generated, the game will reflect those changes in that regard. But as far as strategy, you don't throw to the first base in history maker baseball, anyway. It's not a pitch by pitch game anyway. So those changes are moot.
Nice.
But I like I like them a lot.
History maker basketball. Like we waited patiently, some a little bit less patient than others for this game. And I'm happy with the game the way it is right now. You could take your time with the full game, do what you got to do. So I know you want it to be, correct and as it should. But the game, how it is right now, for me, I love it. I got the mat. I rolled it out. I play a game in like about 25, 30 minutes. I'm in the middle of the play-in tournament right now, the 64 teams. I'm in the middle of that.
Cool.
And I'm having a blast, man. Having a great time with it.
Yeah, I think that the reality kind of dawned on me. It wasn't a conclusion I came to immediately, but over time I began to really feel like, you know what, this highlights game is really it's the ideal way to play basketball, because you don't have it eliminates a lot of the repetition. It gives you the big plays
Mm-hmm.
on like Sports Center, and the better teams, emerge. Sometimes you can get an upset though. Upsets can happen. And it only takes, it takes, like you say, 20, 15, 20, 25 minutes to play a full game. And, a full play basketball game like History Maker Hoops, I mean, necessarily you're talking about resolving 180 to 200 possessions. And that can't be done quickly. It just can't be. So, you got to want to sit down. You've got to want to sit down and spend 90 minutes to 2 hours playing this basketball game, because that's what it's going to take if you want to recreate every, basket, every assist, every rebound. And that's what this game does. That's what the stat people want. And that's great. But in my heart of hearts, I really feel like the majority of people, a highlights game is going to be what they're going to play. That's what I'm going to play. I mean, that's
right.
What
Absolutely. Yep. That's what I'm going to play when we finish the show. Talk about some of the other games, because it's not just sports at playgames.com. What other games do you have going on over there? Talk about the one that you came up with during the pandemic.
That was, we actually came up with a couple. I mean, there was Aviatrix, which is like, I think, my favorite game, Aviatrix 37, which basically lets you get in the cockpit with Fred Noonan and try to fly around the world. It's like a time machine. 1937, you're Amelia Earhart, and I find that game endlessly challenging because it recreates. It's like a simulation of what that trip must have been like. You have to make some decisions. There's a lot of decisions you have to make, and you're taking your life in your own hands. I find that game to be endlessly fascinating to play because I'm kind of a historical. I mean, I like history. I like not just sports history, but all kinds of history. I'm interested in that. So I find that game to be really, really fun. It's a challenge, though. I mean, it's not easy. Just like it was, playing that game makes you realize just what a momentous task she was taking on by trying to fly a Lockheed Electra around the world. It was it was a very dangerous thing to do, and ultimately, I mean, it cost her life, and people don't necessarily understand the connection that. Yeah, what she was doing was super dangerous, So if nothing else, the game really illustrates what that must have been like. And when you do make it all the way around the world to Oakland, even if it takes you 3 months, I've done it a couple times where it takes a long time because your plane has to be repaired or you get sick or all the things that Amelia Earhart dealt with. You have to deal with. And just making it is an accomplishment, and there's a sense of, I did it. So I like that game, and we've developed several games actually during the pandemic. There's Mr. President, the national emergency game, where you get to, you're the press secretary for the president. You're the PR guy, and if things go right, the president gets the credit. If things go wrong, you get the blame. So it's like. It's like that's the way it is, So it's kind of a thankless job, but it's a super fun game. In sort of a twisted sort of way, because it really recreates the pressure cooker of, man, I got some tough decisions to make, and how much do I want to push this? How much do I want to? If I want to get everything done, I'm going to have to take some chances here. So it's a really good game too. And then there's the Fury games you were talking about, Fury Hardball and Fury Football, which Fury Hardball I think should be a real sport. It's pretty neat. It's like very condensed. I could see that game in a stadium where you're playing 6 or 7 games at a time. It's like a tennis match almost, where the games are short. but they're compelling and meaningful. It's like it's like a baseball game distilled down to just the good stuff, and so I like that game too. So
I was confused between what is it, a ping,
a pinger and a winger,
a pinger and a winger. Yes,
well, there's a pinger, a winger, and a dinger.
Wow.
And it has its own lingo because we wanted to make it different than baseball, because it really isn't necessarily baseball. It really started out as wiffle ball. It was like a wiffle ball. If you ever watched wiffle ball, there's some videos online of like the National Wiffle Ball Championships, and you'll watch it like this. What they're able to do with the ball, is the pitchers. It's unbelievable, So that was the inspiration of the game. But then, we sort of amalgamated it into baseball, and then we kind of added cricket. It's sort of like cricket too, in some ways, in that there's only really one base, So it's a neat mashup of wiffle ball, cricket, and baseball, and it plays super fast. And we created our own lingo for it to set it apart as its own sport.
And all the teams, you got teams from around the world.
Yeah, like, St. Kitts and Nevis is awesome. That team, we stacked that team. The St. Kitts and Nevis. They're fantastic.
And again, Yada, it's just really dope to sit up and just have your own universe going on. You know what I mean?
And see, the thing about Fury Hardball is, you can play it solo as like a sim, where you're just kind of watching the teams play and saying, "Oh wow, he hit a dinger and won the game," or he just threw a no hitter, and you can enjoy the game just like as a spectator. But also, it's got an aspect of gameness to it, where I choose my pitch, and I can kind of get in your head, and you choose your swing, and so. It's a really good two-player game as well, and it's really more of a game in that mode, which is cool. It's a game that you can be good at. You can figure out your opponent and analyze what they're doing and perform better. So it's cool that way.
So back to my original question: the difference between a pinger, a winger, and a zinger.
All right, so a pinger is basically a single.
Okay.
But in Fury Hardball, there's only one base. You have two bases. You get the safe base and the bonus base, but there's only one base to go to. You can either go to one of those two bases. So there's no need for like a single or a double or a triple or anything like that. Mm-hmm. There's only one base to go to. You choose which one, but there's only one. So that's what a pinger is. A pinger is a one base hit.
Okay.
A dinger is a home run. It's basically you hit the wall and that scores all the runs. A winger is when you get winged, when you get hit by the ball. That's that's a hit by pitch is a winger.
Okay.
A ringer is when it's basically a walk. You get a free base because the pitch you didn't swing and the ball was not a strike.
Okay.
A zinger is like a strikeout. But the thing is, you only get one. It's like there's no full count. It's like one strike, you're out, or one ball, you walk.
Mm-hmm.
The whole game is like condensed into this little tiny package. So yeah, there's no margin of error. It's you swing and a miss, you just struck out.
That's it. That's it.
And in Fury Hardball, a strikeout is 2 outs. One.
Oh.
So you're better off connecting, with the ball and getting it out. Like a pop out, that's 1 out, but a zinger, that's 2 outs.
Mm.
So yeah.
Talk a little bit about the conventions and how the growth of the Play Games community, because I've been to one of the conventions, man, and it's super dope.
It's crazy. It's fun.
It's super fun. I won.
Uh-huh.
What was it, Keith? 16?
Let's see, that was 20.
It was in Jersey, right?
It was in New Jersey. Yeah, it was halfway between New York and Philly. In what was the name of that town? I forget the name of the city now, but it was like halfway between New York and Philly.
And you come together with all these different people with the same mindset, just playing games and having fun. and making it, just making a great event out of it. Talk about, how it's grown. And now you're in Vegas now. He's big time now. I'm surprised that we got him here to sit down and chat.
So you're talking about you're really talking about two different things. We do live events on location. That's what we did in Jersey. We showed up and a bunch of people came. We played baseball.
Yeah.
And we do. COVID kind of knocked us out for a couple of years. We couldn't do anything. But now we're getting back on the road, and we'll travel somewhere. Like last fall, we went to Hartford, Connecticut, and had an event there. All people in that area come and we have fun. So those are our live events. And this year we're going to be doing, of course, we did the Dice Tower in Vegas, and we're doing an event in Cooperstown, New York, this fall for the Fall Classic Free Play.
Okay.
And we're going to play like a Field of Dreams tournament at the. We're going to play in the Hall of Fame. So that's pretty neat. We also we may go to Phoenix, Arizona in August for the War Game Expo. But that's kind of up in the air right now. We're still waiting on final word on that. So those are events where we actually get on a plane, we go somewhere. Then there's our convention, which we hold here in Denver. And that's where people do it's the opposite. People come to us. People will fly in from all over the country and they'll come and join us. And that has really gotten bigger each year. This year I think we're almost up to 60 people now who will be coming in. And we rent a big ballroom, at a hotel, and we basically play games nonstop for 2 days, 2+ days. Everybody gets here on Thursday. We have our big picnic at Redstone Park, and we grill burgers or hot dogs or whatever. This year we're going to start a little bit early. We're going to do some stuff Wednesday night, and then Thursday is kind of like the pre-con event, and the actual convention is Friday and Saturday. And usually we hang out Sunday too. So it kind of becomes this, 3-4 day event. And people from all over come, and it's amazing that, for newcomers, of course, we've got a lot of people who've been to like every convention. So for them, it's like a reunion of old friends. But there are other people who are like coming for the first time, and in the back of their head, they're thinking, I don't know if this is going to be fun. I'm not going to know anybody, or, what's this going to be like? I mean, you probably felt that way coming to the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I never met these people. But then you get there, like within 5 minutes,
that's right.
The room changes. It's like
that's right.
You realize these people share the same passion that you have, and it's an amazing thing. It's magic. It's like magic. And also, within a half hour, you're old pals.
That's right. I had to show how my situation with rolling the dice. Yep.
That's right.
Yeah. And again, man, like I said in the beginning, man, it's just really something that, I love sports, man, since I was a little kid. And now getting to, feel like I could relive, like 78 or, even like 2009 or something like that. It keeps me in the house, man. You know what I mean? And I could be outside doing other things. Not that I don't really, that I'm not, I'm not missing nothing. And as I get older, man, it feels like now I'm more kind of like settled. I'd rather, play a basketball game or try to, learn how to play this tennis game or things of that nature. Because outside is going to be outside. Nothing's going to change with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So with this, and you have, like Keith said, you meet people like Steve Tower is my guy, right? Al Wilson is my guy. Shout out to those dudes, man. They take care of me. They talk to me. I watch their videos. I learn how to play the game. And Steve Tower, he's the oh no guy. I love it. When he's like, oh no. Oh no. You know what I mean? And so it's like a family. You know what I mean? We ask each other questions. We build with each other. And again, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm just glad that I came across this on a humble. I found it, in the football. I said, let me try this out. And I've been hooked ever since. And watching it grow, I feel proud to feel like, every time I talk to Keith all the time. I email him. He emails me back. The customer service is A1, A1.
Well,
Period. You know what I mean? He tries to personalize stuff. He signs a letter like, "Yo, welcome. Thank you for the purchase," and things of that nature. So again, it makes you feel part of, and that's all for me. I always want to be part of something. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And my thing is, where I feel like I'm slacking, I need to post more in the community because I have a whole.
You're a great ambassador for the community. I always appreciate your posts, and
Yeah.
I know everybody else does too. I just wish we got to get you to come to the convention. We need people to meet you.
Yeah, I try to make it, man, but it is what it is. I try to, do what I do, man, and have fun, and I intend on making it to one of those conventions, man. One of these upcoming real soon, man. Because again, outside is opening back up. We don't have to deal with that, situation anymore. Right. Knock on wood. You know what I mean? So we could all, get together and have some fun because that's what it's all about in the first place. So, man, listen, listen, it's a blessing to have you on. Every time that we have fun, we have a blast, we have a ball. I learn something every time. Anything you want to say before we get up out of here?
Yada, it's great to meet you. And,
it's great to meet you too. Thank you for all the information. I will definitely take a look, and check out some things.
Thanks for keeping Chris, in line and
Hey, I try.
I appreciate you both, and thanks a lot for letting me be on your show.
Thank you, man. Tell Sam I said what up. Salute to Sam too. Salute. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Okay. See you later.
Have a good one.
Bye.
All right.
That was awesome.
That's the big homie right there. Cool. That's Keith right there. And again, the customer service is A1. Any questions you have, you send him an email. He usually emails you right back within an hour or whatever. He's low-key's out in Denver. You know what I mean? So I
definitely want to had to check out the wrestling one because
I think
it's all about the storyline. I love the storyline. Like he caught me soon. You said, "Oh, what do you like best about wrestling?" Like, yeah, the storyline. Like, so I can create the story. It's like, yeah, I'm all for it.
And you could go. They have a YouTube channel.
Okay.
If you want to get like a gist on, how to play the games and stuff like that. Steve Tower has his After Further Review channel. They have the Play Games channel, so you definitely watch those and kind of like get a vibe of how the game works. And again, when you watch these videos, Yada, like you said early in the show, the video's in your head.
Yeah,
the action takes place in front of you, but you see how things work. And when you watch these videos, you're like engrossed with it, like, oh wow, okay, what's gonna happen? Because Steve now, I think he's doing the 1989 or 1990 World Series between Oakland and Cincinnati.
Okay.
Right? And how he plays it out, you're watching the game, you're wondering who's going to win and stuff like that. So it's really, really dope, yo. That's why I wanted to put you on to that. Because I figured, you'll get caught up. You know what I mean? And you go on the page, you check it out, and, just tell me what you think. And again, somebody asked me, well, how come you don't, make sure that your team wins and you cheat? That's whack.
Yeah, that's corny.
That's why play the game if you're going to cheat.
Yeah,
and that's the beauty of
not reality. People don't
that's not reality.
Always wins. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the beauty of these games right here, because you really don't know. You have intentions on trying to put the lineup together. You know what I mean? Somebody might get hurt. You got to roll in baseball and football. You got to roll for the weather.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing an outdoor game like in Philly, it might, in December, you got to roll for the weather in December in Philly. If it's snowing, so that'll bring bring the players' grades down, and it's reflective in how the game goes. So it's really, really dope, yo. And I wanted to put you on to that. You know what I'm saying? So again, that's what that is. But anything else you want to chop up before we get out of here? Listen, tomorrow night, because we're giving y'all a month for double dosages.
Yeah, tomorrow will be cool.
1 year. Go ahead.
I definitely will want to just touch on LeBron, man. He really, showed up last night. A lot of people always criticize him as not being a clutch player. Well, that last drive, the last drive with that high layup to get over Jaren Jackson to send the game to overtime was crazy. And I know Memphis is like shooting itself in the foot for not taking that game, especially with a horrible game that Anthony Davis had. Like that was they had to have that game. That was a must win for Memphis. And truthfully, that's the series right there for them. And I also thought it was some real sucker stuff with Dylan Brooks and John Morant not wanting to speak to the press because when y'all was winning, y'all had all the smoke for everybody, talking real greasy, real crazy. But now when y'all losing and now you down 3-1, you don't got no time to talk to the press. You don't got nothing to say. You got no comment. That's real corny. And I also wanted to say too, I'm have a big issue with Joe Dumars because for the simple fact that he did not suspend Dylan Brooks, who, by the way, have a history, our most recent history, and he led the league in technical fouls this year with 18 technical fouls, which included a 1-game suspension. So if you want to use the word history, then Dylan Brooks should have got suspended too. I thought that was corny of Joe Dumars. It looks like it's what did my man Chris Rock just say? Selective outrage. You can't be angry at one person and then when the next person do something similar that's in his wheelhouse, he's been the aggressor, majority of the season has been proven. He has 18 technical fouls. He has a suspension. He should have been suspended. So if I was Draymond Green, I would file a grievance against Joe Dumars. I would try to get him out of it because I don't feel like that's
y'all the bear amping up the set.
Yeah, I feel like that's a personal attack against him, because those things I did in the past, I already served my time for that. That's like a person who was in prison go
that
back because they go back to prison because he has a history of
jaywalking.
And I saw him cross the light, cross the street with it was a yellow light. So you know what? We gotta send him back to prison because he has a history
for 20 years.
Yeah, so I thought that was real crazy. And like I said, if I was Draymond Green, I'll file a grievance with the union to try to get Joe Dumars out there because I feel like that's a personal attack against Draymond because he probably don't like him personally.
And on that note, look, y'all, we're going to be back tomorrow night. We're going to talk more about the NBA playoffs. We're going to talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs. We're going to talk about
that fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about Ryan Garcia and the whatever controversy going on with him getting knocked out by Tank Davis, which really shouldn't be a controversy at all. But, this is the era of, excuses and everything has to be dragged out. Absolutely. We're in the building. You know how to get at us. Down at In Sports Talk. We on YouTube. Down at In Sports Talk. We on Facebook. Yes. We live on StreamYard and all that. Get at me on Twitter at RM-. You know the vibes. That's Yada Bear over there. And when she gets that 2000, we might have to play that 2009 World Series, kid.
Yeah, we might
have to play that 2009 World Series. I hope you got your click clack game together. You know what I mean? We're about to get up out of here. Don't go nowhere. We're about to get up out of here. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow, same time. All right. We celebrating 1 year down at In Sports Talk. We appreciate everybody who rocks out with us, man.
Yes.
Even if you just peep in and see what the vibe is. All right. Yes. We're not doing a lot of crazy talk. We don't do a lot of analytics. We just have real conversations. All right. And we appreciate everybody who rocks out with us. All right. So tomorrow night we'll be in. Appreciate my man Keith Avalon coming through. Playgames.com. Make sure you check that out. And for the time being, we're going to get up out of here. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow night. Y'all don't go nowhere. All right? Peace. What you be?
Oh, they found hot dogs at the stadium.
Oh, it's hot dog night. Oh.
Yeah, it was dog night. They didn't